Stepping up to the plate, Keisha Phillips.
This batter needs to concentrate on just one thing: timing and patience.
The pitch.
That one's never coming down, Sonny. Never!
Here's the windup. The pitch. Adios! The pitch. The delivery. Adios! Here it comes. Hasta la vista! Here it comes. The pitch. Here it comes. The pitcher gets set. Here it comes. The pitch. Adios! The windup and the pitch. Hasta la vista! Here's the pitch. The pitch. Long gone! Stepping up to the plate, Lisa Crockett.
Finding a way to get on base is crucial here. A note from your mom just isn't going to work.
The pitcher gets set. Here it comes. The pitch. Home run! The pitch. The pitch. Home run! Here's the pitch. The pitcher gets set. The delivery. Here it comes. The windup and the pitch. The pitch. Just missed. Here it comes. Here it comes. Gone! Here it comes. Here's the pitch. Home run! Here it comes.
No doubt about that one, Sonny.
Stepping up to the plate, Billie Jean Blackwood. I'm setting this one off.
This batter needs to concentrate on just one thing: timing and patience.
Here it comes. So long, baseball.
I prefer French fries.
The windup and the pitch. The pitcher looks in. Here's the pitch. Hasta la vista!
I prefer French fries.
The pitch. Here it comes. Here's the pitch. The pitch. Bye-bye.
That's French, you know.
Here it comes.
Taters
Long
are fried.
gone.
I prefer French fries.
The windup and the pitch.
Bon voyage.
Long gone.
That's French, you know.
Here it comes. The pitch. The pitch. Here's the pitch.
Taters
See
are
ya.
all right, but I prefer French fries.
Here it comes.
Bon
Home
voyage.
run!
That's French,
At bat now, we've got Mikey Thomas.
I feel funny.
And another batter comes to the plate. That's sheer determination by this team.
The pitcher looks in. The pitch. So long, baseball! The pitch.
So close, and yet so very, very far.
The pitch. The pitcher gets set. Here it comes. Gone! Here it comes. Here it comes. The pitch. The pitcher looks in. Here it comes. Looks in. The pitch. Bye-bye. Here's the pitch.
That one's never coming down, Sonny. Never. Wowie, wow, wow.
Home run! The pitcher gets set. Here's the pitch. Gone! The delivery. The delivery. Settling into the box is Ernie Steele.
Hiya, Mom.
The delivery.
The kids call that a homer, Sonny. Hey, I hit a homer.
The pitch. Here's the pitch. The pitch. Here's the pitch. So long, baseball!
Hey, I hit a homer.
Here's the pitch. Looks in. The pitch. Adios!
Hey, I hit a homer.
Here's the pitch. Here it comes. Hasta la vista!
Hey, I hit a homer.
The windup and the pitch. The pitch. Here's the pitch. Here it comes. Here's the pitch. The pitcher gets set. The delivery. Stepping up to the plate, Ricky Johnson. Here it comes. The pitcher looks in. The windup and the pitch. Here's the pitch. Looks in. Here it comes. Here's the pitch. The pitch. Here's the windup. Here it comes. Here's the pitch. Looks in. Here's the pitch. Goodbye, baseball. The windup and the pitch. Here's the pitch. See ya. The windup and the pitch. Looks in. Here it comes. The windup and the pitch. The delivery. Stepping up to the plate, Ahmed Khan.
This batter is aching for a break, but the pitcher doesn't look like they're going to cooperate. Baseball, I hardly knew yet.
Here it comes. The pitch. So long, baseball. Here it comes. Here's the windup. The windup and the pitch. Gone! The windup and the pitch. Home run!
Guitar man! Yeah!
Here's the pitch. Long gone!
Guitar man! Yeah!
Here's the pitch. So long, baseball! Here it comes. Looks in. Here it comes. That was just a few feet from being a home run. Here it comes. Here's the windup. Here it comes. The pitch. Here it comes. Here's the pitch. Now batting, Annie Frazier.
Here comes a kid with a chip on one shoulder and a bat on the other.
Hit sharply.
Yes,
See ya.
yes.
Here's the pitch.
Did I do that?
Long gone. Here it comes. Here's the windup. The delivery. Looks in. Here it comes. The pitcher gets set. Here's the pitch.
Did I
See
do
ya.
that?
The pitch.
Yes,
Hasta la vista. Here it comes. The pitcher looks in. Here it comes.
Yes,
Bye. Here it comes. Here's the windup. The windup and the pitch. Adios!
Yes.
Here it comes. Here it comes. The pitcher gets set. The windup and the pitch.
Did I do that?
Bye. The delivery.
Yes,
Long
yes, yes.
gone. Settling into the box is Keisha Phillips.
You can't get on base if you don't hit the ball.
The windup and the pitch. That was just a few feet from being a home run. The delivery. Here's the windup. Here's the pitch. Here it comes.
Can I
Home
get some
run!
ketchup for my tater?
Here it comes. Takes a quick look. The pitch.
That's
Gone!
this house.
Here it comes. The pitch. Looks in for the sign. The pitch.
Can I
Bon
get some ketchup for
voyage.
my tater?
The delivery. The delivery. Looks in for the sign. The windup and the pitch.
That's
Gone!
this house.
Looks in for the sign. Here it comes. The windup and the pitch. Now batting, Billie Jean Blackwood.
The batter steps up to the plate and gets ready to hit one. That's the plan, anyway.
Taters
Goodbye,
are all right,
baseball.
but I prefer French fries.
Here it comes.
Bon voyage.
Gone!
That's
The
French.
pitcher gets set. The windup and the pitch. The pitch. Here's the pitch.
Bon
Home
voyage.
run!
That's French, you know.
The windup and the pitch. Here it comes. Here's the pitch. The pitcher looks in. Here's the pitch.
Bon voyage.
Long gone!
That's French, you know.
The windup and the pitch. The pitch. Looks in. The delivery. Here's the pitch. Here's the windup. The pitch. The windup and the pitch. Stepping up to the plate, Mikey Thomas.
It looks like this kid is trying to jinx the pitcher by giving him the old hairy eyeball. Let's see if it works. Bon voyage.
The delivery. Home run! The pitch. Here's the pitch. Here's the pitch. Looks in. The pitch.
That one put a hole in the ozone.
Hit sharply.
So close, and yet so very, very far.
Here's the pitch. That one is gone. Here's the pitch. The pitch. Hasta la vista. The delivery. Home run. Here's the pitch. Long gone. The delivery. Gone. The pitcher gets set. The pitch.
I thought it had a chance, but what do I know?
Here it comes. That was just a few feet from being a home run. Stepping up to the plate, Ernie Steele.
When a batter is nervous, you can see it in their ears. Or the eyes. The eyes of the ears.
Here it comes. So long, baseball.
Thing go. Man.
Here's the pitch. The pitcher looks in. Here's the pitch. The delivery. The pitch.
So close, and yet so very, very far.
Here it comes. Looks in. The windup and the pitch. Looks in. Here it comes.
Hey, man.
Long gone.
Thing go. Man.
The pitch. The windup and the pitch. The pitch. The pitcher looks in. The delivery. The pitcher gets set. Here's the pitch. Here's the windup. The delivery. Home run!
That old thing go. Man.
Now batting, Billie Jean Blackwood.
And another batter comes to the plate. That's sheer determination by this team.
The pitcher gets set. The pitch. Here's the pitch. The pitcher gets set. The windup and the pitch. The pitch. The pitch. That one is
I
gone.
prefer French fries.
Here it comes.
Bon
Long
voyage.
gone.
That's French, you know.
Here's the pitch.
Bon voyage.
Gone.
That's French, you know.
The pitch. The delivery. Looks in. The windup and the pitch. The pitch.
Taters
Home
are all right,
run.
but I prefer French fries.
Here's the pitch. Here it comes.
Bon voyage.
Long gone.
That's French, you know.
The windup and the pitch.
Taters
So
are all
long,
right,
baseball.
but I prefer French French fries.
At bat now, we've got Mikey Thomas.
I ate a bug.
When that ball comes screaming across the plate, you've got to put it in play if you want to get the hit.
The pitch. See ya! The windup and the pitch. Gone! Here it comes. Bye-bye. The windup and the pitch. The delivery. Home run! The pitch. The pitch. So long, baseball! The pitch. The windup and the pitch. Hasta la vista! Here it comes. Here's the windup. The pitch.
So close, and yet so very, very far.
The pitch. The pitch. Hasta la vista! The pitch. Now batting, Billie Jean Blackwood. Takes a quick look.
This one all the way to Payreed.
The pitch. The delivery. Here it comes. Settling into the box is Pablo Sanchez.
Adios, baseball.
When you think batting, you think hit the ball. And that's just what this kid is doing. I think that one hit a satellite.
The delivery. Looks in for the sign. The pitch.